Well, hey everybody, we are jumping back into our weekly live Q&A. I am super excited to see you. Each and every week we jump in and answer your social media questions for 20 minutes in real time. And we're going to dive in and we are going to take a look at some of those questions that have been sent in early this week. But if you're joining me live, feel free to jump into the chat box with your questions. If you're on the replay, feel free to drop those and I'll save those for next week so that we can get your social media questions answered. Heather jumped in with a really great question. She wanted to know, are there audios in Reels that are just people speaking like on TikTok with those like funny viral monologues? So when it comes to music and to conversation on Reels, you do have to be aware that these companies have to kind of license and have permission to use these different audios. And when the artists themselves are putting them on here, they specify what part of the songs are allowed to be used. So the artists actually have to have given permission to use those, which is why when you download your Instagram Reels, they don't always have audios because you can't do that and put it on another platform. And why you can't be taking your TikToks and putting them on other platforms with those songs. You can take them without the songs and then find the same songs and match them up, but you cannot take them from one platform and move them to the next. So with this, Instagram is very, very specific about the audios that they have available. They are not using audios from other users like TikTok is. So the monologues, the conversations, the voiceovers with people speaking on TikTok are all from user content. And that is part of their terms of service where they can actually use those and leverage those inside of the platform. You cannot do that on Instagram. So the only way you're getting these different audio things on Instagram is if the artists themselves, the creators, have given permission to use it within the context of that platform. So you're not going to see things like that over on Reels just because that's not part of the ecosystem there. But it also really doesn't fit very well for what Instagram and Instagram Reels is. So you want to make sure when you're creating content for each individual platform, you are doing it in a way that's cohesive with your branding and with that particular platform. So that is something that you are going to have to either create yourself. So if you want a witty banter or a witty monologue, you have to do that yourself, and you can record your own where you're doing the voiceovers and then you're either lip syncing to it or you're filming it in parts, and you can absolutely have that banter back and forth with yourself on your Reels, but it's something you're going to have to create yourself. It's not something you're going to be able to grab those audios from somebody else. So if you see something you like, create your own version of it. Don't like steal somebody's exact words, but create your own versions that you can use that on Instagram Reels as well to kind of have that funny conversation with people and educate through that. Great question, Heather. Smart Money jumped in and said, I wish my video creation software was this intuitive. We were talking all about BeLive, one of my favorite platforms for live streaming. In fact, I'm using them right now to simulcast on Facebook and YouTube. And we were talking about how you can put words on screen. So how you can do things like this, where you've got these little tags on screen to show the topics that you are going to be going through so that that can pop up so people know what we're talking about, who's on screen, all those fun things. And Smart Money, you can actually check out BeLive. They have both a free and a paid part of the platform, and I've linked my link down below so you can get extra bonuses and extended free trials and like discounts on things. So I've got all the goods for you. It's down in the comments below. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that video all about how I'm using BeLive in different ways to enhance what I'm doing inside of my business. And if you're not loving your video creation software, might be time to check out a new one. I got some good ones linked down below for you. Our next question is one I really want to talk about today because I get this a lot from people. We created tutorials on how you can screen share on all the different social media platforms, and there's different versions of screen sharing. So this person was not thrilled. They said, this is not screen sharing. This is putting up a background picture from your camera roll. They want to actually mirror that screen on Instagram. So let's break this down. First thing we need to know is there are different types of screen sharing. Screen sharing is not just sharing a live screen by far. In fact, you will see a ton of screen sharing when it comes to photos and videos. So these can be pre-recorded. It doesn't just have to be live. These can be static images you've created, and it all counts as screen sharing. It is part of the screen sharing umbrella. So there's different ways that you can screen share, and most people, when they are screen sharing, are leveraging a combination of these. So it's not just a screen share of what you're doing live on a particular screen. Now, that said, Instagram does not allow this. This is not a function inside of Instagram at this time. The only way that you can be screen sharing on Instagram is pre-recorded video and static photos from your camera roll. So you can pull up things that already exist in your camera roll and you can show that on Instagram, but you cannot share a live screen. In fact, if you try to leave Instagram while you are on the live stream, it will kick off your live stream. You will no longer be able to be live streaming. So this is straight up something you cannot do on Instagram right now. And right now, Instagram API is not open, meaning third parties like BeLive and Melon from Logitech do not have the ability to access it in order to be doing something like that. So that's potentially in the future, but not accessible right now. So if you do want to screen share on Instagram, you have to pre-record whatever it is that you're doing and then pull it up from your screen or from your camera roll, and then you can share it and you can talk yourself through it just like that. But right now, you can't do any mirroring on Instagram or on TikTok. You can on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you're looking to do that, YouTube and Facebook are the place to be for that one. Speaking of Instagram, we had a great development in Instagram. In fact, they dropped quite a few new announcements this week that I'm super excited about. But we have heard news that they are starting to let in bots like ManyChat. So like you can do over on Facebook Messenger, you can have those automated sequences to have conversations with people. They are starting to beta test that over on Instagram. So that's coming soon. If that's coming soon, what else might be coming soon? Could it be live screen sharing? Could it be opening that API so that other third parties like BeLive and Melon can actually get in and do these things? We don't know for sure, but it is things that are potentially on the horizon. So stay tuned for that. If you're joining me live, I would love to get your questions answered. Please feel free to drop your social media questions into the chat box right now, and I'll pull them up and get those answered for you while we're live on air. If you're on our replay, you can go ahead and you can drop them in the comments. I'll save them for next week. LW Society jumped in and said, "Girl, I love your videos and you were looking fire in this one." Well, thank you so much, friend. I do appreciate that. This was all about hashtags over on Instagram, and I'm super glad that you are watching through these videos and learning so that you can grow on your Instagram page. If you guys are loving what Instagram is doing right now, like I said, they've got some really cool new announcements that have come out in the last couple of days. We now know that IGTV is doing transcription and captioning. We know that they're testing monetization for IGTV. So if you're not doing IGTV videos, either storing your live replays or specific IGTV videos, now's the time, because they're testing monetization, which means they're going to be pushing that, which means you could potentially be making money from IGTVs in the future. So get yourself established on that one right now. We know that they just announced that we can customize the colors and themes of our Instagram DMs if you have updated Messenger. Remember, at this point, Instagram is owned by Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, of course, and they're now connecting their messengers. They're doing an integrated system so that no matter what platform you're on, you have access to all of these, which means because you can now colorize and do all the cool things on Facebook Messenger, you're also going to be able to do that on Instagram Messenger when you get those connected and updated. We also know that Instagram dropped that they are testing badges during live streams, which are kind of like tips. So badges are similar to those things that you can give out over on TikTok. So they've got different levels of them on TikTok where you're actually giving a tip to the person on air. You are giving them money. And Instagram is checking those out as well. They're in beta right now. They're testing them out. So at some point that'll roll out to the rest of us as well. We don't have details on that just yet, but they are testing it with a select group of users. If you did not check out our video on Monday, we also dropped that they're now doing quick replies or saved responses so that you can actually kind of trigger pre-written things as responses to people. So let's say you have a common question that you get all the time and you don't want to type out the answer every single time. You can get it set up so it triggers with a keyword, auto-populates, you can change whatever words you need to, and then send it without having to type up a full paragraph answer. This is great for giving out freebies, all the good stuff. So that's a full video that you can be checking out as well. And because we're also talking updates real fast before we continue, TikTok has announced they are starting to roll out those dual live streams, which means 2 people on screen at once. Most people don't have it yet, but we know it's coming, and I've actually seen it in use, so fingers crossed we get that pretty soon. We also know that Twitter has announced Spaces, which is kind of like their Clubhouse knockoff, which will be very interesting to see how that rolls out. And for those of you who have not noticed yet, TikTok has now rolled out both polls inside of your videos, so people can vote between 2 different choices, and camera roll stickers similar to Instagram stories. So make sure you check those out as you're posting in your TikToks. Jumping back into our questions, Good morning. Mathy jumped in and said, wow, that was so quick and concise, but is BeLive a paid subscription unlike StreamYard? So exactly like StreamYard, it has both free and paid parts of the platform. All live streaming platforms do. They are the really good ones, like that are partners with YouTube and partners with Facebook. They've all got both paid and free versions of this. Free versions on all the platforms that I've seen do have that logo and the branding to the company, not to you, but to the company. So they'll have the BeLive, or they'll have StreamYard, or they'll have Melon, or they'll have whatever on there. The paid versions don't have that branding, and they have other features. So they've got all the basics in the free version that you guys can use, or they do have a really cool built-out system for the paid users. And if you want to check out BeLive, I've actually got my discount code and my extended free trial and all the fun stuff linked down below for you, as well as my links for Melon, which is owned by Logitech. So make sure you're checking those out as well. And if you've got questions, I would love to get them answered for you. Go ahead and drop those in for me right now. We'll take a look for you, or we'll save them for next week's live stream. Dana jumped in and said, super helpful. Keep up the Instagram tips. You are my guru. Oh, Dana, I'm so glad to hear that. I hope that you are thriving over on Instagram. Feel free to drop me your link. I would love to check out your page and see what you're doing. We did have another question about Instagram live streaming and how you can be sharing things while you're doing them on your phones. So this person wanted to share their art process, which is a cool idea. I love when artists jump on and they are showing off how they're doing and kind of explaining it. But unfortunately, you cannot share a mirrored screen or that live screen. So you would have to film your art process beforehand and then put it in your camera roll and then pop that up on your screen and you can talk them through it, which is actually really incredibly helpful for live streams because they shouldn't be going hours and hours and hours while you're drawing things. The best choice for you here, and the one that I would highly recommend, is that you sit down, draw your picture, do your digital art, do whatever it is that you're doing. And then I actually recommend you speed it up a bit. So not like super fast. We don't want your whole art process in 60 seconds if you're explaining it, because that's way too much to explain. So I want you to slow that down just a little bit to a faster rate, but not a super slow rate. So instead of it taking an hour, maybe give it 5 minutes and get that footage sped up so that it's 5 minutes long, and then you can jump in and you can kind of direct people as to what you are doing as you're doing it, which makes it a lot more engaging because people don't have to sit there for every little stroke of your pen. It's something that can go a lot faster. You can get all of that content and good information out there and keep their attention for the duration of your conversation. So I highly recommend actually recording in advance, speeding it up to about 5 or 10 minutes in length, and then you can break down exactly what you're doing as you're watching that on screen. We had another great comment coming in this week. If it wants to move forward, I would love for this to advance. Let's see if it's going to advance for me. It is not going to advance for me. Let me try one thing to see if I can get this to cooperate. Oh, there we go. Did that work? It did. Beautiful. So Nicole jumped in and she said, my mind is blown. Thank you so much. We were talking all about those Instagram quick replies. So you can actually set it up to send out your freebies, to send out links to people, to answer frequently asked questions. And I love, love, love that I can actually set it up for my contest winners. So when I'm giving away things to people who join me on my live streams and are commenting and interacting with me, sometimes I give away copies of my books or I give away other types of freebies. I can just set it up with those trigger words, and then I don't have to type it in. I don't have to go looking for links. It's just ready to go. It auto-populates. It does not directly send it. It just auto-populates, and then I can go in and add their name, or I can change some words. If a line sounds a little weird for the question that they asked, I can change the introduction up or whatever it happens to be, and then hit the send button. It's ready to go, but it does the heavy lifting for me, so I just have to tweak it if I need to before I send that and move on. So I absolutely love quick replies. If you haven't set them up yet, now is the time. We also had another question. Again, we're going back to the live streaming on the social platforms today. We are very heavy on these questions this weekend, always. Unfortunate Gamer jumped in and said, can you do a video but for screen sharing or for sharing the screens? We talked all about how you can do the green screen effect on TikTok. This right now is the only way to be screen sharing on TikTok. They do not allow you to show your live screens. They only allow the green screen effect, which means you yourself are cut out and behind you is something from your camera roll, be it still photo, a static image, or a pre-recorded video, but you cannot share it any other way, and you are on screen cutoff for this in front of that particular image. So that's the only option we have on TikTok right now. But I will say, insider info, some accounts, most accounts are not, like 99% of us are not, but some accounts have been given access to individualized stream keys for each of their unique live streams. You can't, it's not a one and done thing. It's you start your live stream, and when you start, it gives you a stream key, which you can then pull and put in something like OBS, or you can put it in VLive, or you can put it in Melon, and you can then stream from there because they have that unique stream key for that specific live stream. But it's something you have to manually do each and every time, and most of us don't have access to it yet. So on occasion, you'll see somebody being able to do that. That's because their account was given specialized access to that unique stream key for that one individual live stream, and then they had to manually move it over to another system in order to do something like that. So the common folk here, we do not have access to that yet, but it is something that they are working on. So fingers crossed that that is going to be something we have access to in the not too distant future for that. Thanks for writing in. We had a ton of great comments on, again, those Instagram quick replies. Excellent technical insights. So helpful. I've set up a few of these, but definitely need to do more. Ben, always curious about this, such a great tutorial, and we had more really fantastic comments sharing the love for these quick replies over on Instagram. So I'm glad that you guys are loving this. We had one more great question. Actually, we had a ton of questions. I had to save a bunch of them for next week as well. But we have one more question that we're going to get to today, and Lewis wants to know, he mentioned what type of phone he has and that he can't necessarily access certain things because the tech is a little bit older in the older style phone that he has. His question is there going to be a way around this? I specifically want to make a PowerPoint presentation on Instagram. Is there an app that will allow me to do this, possibly pre-recorded? So Lewis is saying he does not have the ability to screen share on Instagram. And we know that is camera roll footage or static images that we are putting up on our screen. So if you do not have access to that, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do that unless you have another device. So your only method, your only possibility of doing this right now is to update your phone or get a device that does it. Now, Lewis and I continued a conversation, and we were chatting about how if you have like one specific presentation you want to do, perhaps you can borrow somebody's phone. You can use a friend's or a family member's that has a more updated style phone that does have access to it, and just sign into your account from there so that you don't have to go out and buy an entirely new phone to do this. But if it's something you're going to be doing regularly, you absolutely do need to upgrade your tech if this is something that's going to be influential in how you're running your business on social media. So just keep that in mind when you are planning what you are doing with your next phone purchase. But right now, for the most part, you should and can be able to work around that in different, unique, and creative ways. You just got to get a little interesting in how you do some of these things. So, Lewis, good luck. I hope that you do find someone's phone to borrow in order to do your PowerPoint presentation. But outside of not having it inside of your phone, you are kind of stuck the way that it is. So let me know, Lewis, how that goes. I can't wait to hear from you. And friends, if you do have social media questions, I would love to get those answered for you. Feel free to drop them into the comment box. Like I said, we were just inundated with questions this week. And so I've saved a ton of them for next week and even the next week after that. But I will be mixing in your questions as well. So go ahead and hit me up with those. I would love to get those answered. And we prioritize questions that come in on these live streams. So feel free to drop your questions into the comments below and we'll get those answered for you in the next week. Make sure that you are hanging out because we are about to introduce some really cool new live Q&As, collaborations, and different social media updates over on Clubhouse. If you're not following me, it's just at KM Robinson, my name, and you can come hang out with us as we're opening up business Q&As, social media Q&As. I'm partnering with other experts in different industries, so finances, copywriting, all the cool things, to do some really cool presentations on Clubhouse for you starting this week. So we are going live later today. We're going live tomorrow. We are going live on Friday. And I'm so excited for the things that we're doing. If you're not on Clubhouse, come join us over there. And if you've got more questions, make sure you stay tuned. I actually broke all of that social media news that I mentioned to you today on the live stream over on Clubhouse days ago. So make sure you stay tuned. We are dropping all the good stuff and letting you know what you need to know to create more profit inside of your business and staying on top of all these cool platform additions and changes in the social media marketing world. I will see you next week for our weekly Q&A every Wednesday here at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until then, friends, I hope you have a great day and stay inspired and stay tuned because we've got a new video dropping on Friday here on the YouTube channel that you do not want to miss. We'll see you then.